Hey, welcome back to the King and Ragone Show on the Believe Network and the Draft Network. I'm here with my friend and former teammate and current Minnesota Vikings wide receiver, KJ Osborn. What's up, bro? How you doing?
What's up, bro? Glad to be on here. What's up?
Man, thank you so much for obviously coming on the show. And as you can see, Derek's not joining us today because he's currently in Vegas for the East-West Shrine game. So right now he's currently doing some of his meetings for, teams this week. Like he's meeting with all 32 teams. So he's doing some of those right now. But speaking of the All-Star game, you didn't attend one, right?
No, yeah, I didn't attend any All-Star game. I didn't even get no invite.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. You didn't get an invite, which is kind of weird because you got invited to the NFL Combine.
Yeah.
And usually you get invited to the NFL Combine, you have some sort of like All-Star game or something. But even a lot of guys at the All-Star game don't even get NFL Combine invites.
Yeah, they don't.
But the reason why I asked that is, just to, in a way, like it just speaks on your story. Like I just kind of want to get into it, like your triumph and like hard work that, I wanted to talk about because most people, they may know or they may not know is like you're a grinder, like through and through. Like that's how you got in the league. That's how, you got into where you are in the league, and that's how you're going to go to better places,
Yeah, I appreciate it.
You did go to the NFL Combine and you showed out. You remember that video whenever you ran your 40? I put it on my story. Me and all the guys were watching, and you were running your 40, and we were all just like, oh, my God, like screaming stuff, going crazy. You ran a 4.48. We were just like, dang, KJ. Like, we knew you were fast, but we didn't know you were that fast.
Yeah, I had a bunch of videos. People sending me, like, my dad's reaction was hilarious. Like, y'all reaction, Mike, a lot of people. So, like, it was funny coming back to my phone, like, everybody seeing our reactions. So that was cool.
Man, people were excited for you. We were excited because, obviously you work so hard, like, and you deserve it. Like, it was just like a great thing, because sometimes you see people that, work so hard and they don't, achieve what they deserve or get what they deserve. And seeing you do that, we all knew you deserved it and how hard you worked. Like, we talk about it all the time, around this time where guys are going to train and like how they need to be locked in and focused and things like that. When you left like the school, like sometimes we'll hear for some people and like we'll see that they might be going out this, place, like going out occasionally or doing something or, just chilling.
Right.
All I saw from you, I didn't even hear from you really, like just a little bit, but all I saw was you were working like constantly, like every single day. Like you did not take one day off.
Yeah.
And you were working up at IMG, I think, or where were you working at?
Going up to the Combine?
Yeah, like where were you working out at?
Yeah. Going up to the Combine, I trained at IMG, yeah.
Who was the trainer you were with?
With Mo Wells. He's at
House Athletes.
Yep, that's who. So yeah, he transferred. He left from IMG to House Athlete, but yeah, that was my trainer.
Okay, yeah. That's funny. No, a lot of people, train with him now. Was that like the first spring or something? Like the next year, he was with House of Athletes.
Yeah, because I think like House of Athlete, it was open, but like I don't think they had a draft like program thing how they do now. So Mo was at IMG for, I think he might have only been there for one combine class, which was us, because before he was at Michael Johnson, I think, out there in Texas.
Yeah.
And he IMG, and then now he's at House of Athlete, which is perfect. He's in Miami, which I wanted to come back to anyway. And like the facility, like even more every year is blown up for how many guys have come there. So it's been great. It's been win-win.
Yeah, no, it's funny. You come back and train in Miami, but we barely ever see you. You live like maybe 5-6 minutes from me. Like we talk now and then, but like you're always up at House of Athletes just working every single day. And I remember just thinking, I think I saw you remember the fight that one time they were having the fight showing or whatever. And we talked a bit and you were talking about how, you just be every day just working out and stuff and things like that. And me and Derek, we spoke, we're like, man, like we just felt like KJ's going to have like a breakout year. Like he's going to go into training camp because we know, like, two guys in the off season, like they'll train hard, but
Yeah.
they'll take some weeks off and stuff like that. You know, they'll relax for a while, but like you were already right back in it, and you're just automatically. And we're like, man, like just that work ethic, we knew something was going to happen for you this year. But that's like a great way to, you know, take it back to, you know, the beginning. You're from, I'm not even going to try and, you go ahead and say Michigan, like that place, Michigan, Placenti?
From Ypsilanti.
Yeah, Ypsilanti, okay.
People just say Ipsy, it sound better.
You're from Ypsi, Michigan.
Yeah.
Tell me what it was like for you growing up there.
Yeah, so it's a smaller town right next to like Ann Arbor. That's like a bigger city. So I like to tell people we like maybe 30 minutes from Detroit, you know, right next to Ann Arbor, University of Michigan. So a lot of people know where that's at. I grew up with my mom and my sister in my house. My dad was remarried, so I have other brothers and sisters as well. You know, my dad, he lived like maybe 10 minutes away from me. So I was back and forth from my mom's house to my dad's house, and you know, with all my brothers and sisters growing up. Went to Lincoln High School. You know, had a really close knit group of friends since I was in like 4th grade. You know, we all kind of grew up together. And yeah, so that's how it kind of was in Ypsi, a place that I go back to. I'm proud to be from. Running my first camp there this summer on June 11th. That's like a little sneak peek. I haven't really announced that yet. So that'll be on June 11th in Ypsi. So I've done some other things there, some hand sanitizer giveaways, and I'm on a panel, you know, in February. So like, I want to start doing some more, you know, give back opportunities there, you know, to where I'm from. Because, you know, year one, there was a lot of COVID, so I wasn't able to do as much as I wanted to. So now that, you know, COVID is still here, but, you know, it's not as much as it was, you know, year one, or, you know, we in a strict quarantine. So I'll be able to get back this off season and do a lot of things there.
That's perfect, man. That's awesome. I actually did a camp this past summer in Pasadena, like where I'm from in Houston. We did a little give back thing. We gave backpacks and school supplies, you know, back to some kids like that came to the camp, because really where I'm from, there's like, I think, you know, the free or reduced lunch, like, you know, and stuff. And like, you know, growing up, I think in Pasadena, it was like 80% are on free or reduced lunch, something like that. Yeah. So, you know, kids can't really afford, you know, stuff like that. So we did that. So, I mean, it's good to hear that, you know, you're doing things back in your community.
Yeah.
How was football there?
It was where are you from? Where are you from? Are you from Texas?
Yeah.
So like it ain't Texas. Like it ain't Texas, but it's
no place like Texas.
Yeah. No, it's cool though. You know, it just like it was just high school football, man. It was fun. You know, it wasn't a lot of, you know, highly recruited guys where I'm from. I think myself and Tyler Mabry was my best friend, who I grew up with since 5th grade. He played for the Seahawks now. Him, myself, and a guy named Arlington, who's now he was with the Bears. I think he just signed a deal with the Patriots. You know, we like the only 3 guys to go to the league from there. And I don't know anybody else who has. And I'm sure there's somebody, you know, some old head who probably has made it. But if not, you know, we're the only people that have made it. You know, from my high school, you know, me and Tyler are the only people that have ever made the NFL. So, you know, that's not like a thing, like, you know, where we're from. As you know, it probably is a lot of places, obviously, you know, it's a rare company. But so like, it wasn't a lot of like highly recruited guys. It wasn't even a lot of D1 guys. Our goal to come out of high school, just go D1. Like that was like, that was the NFL where we was from. Like you go D1, like you the man, like just a Division I school. So that's kind of just how it was. You know, it was, like I said, very fun. I have a really good relationship with my coaches and all my people there. I call it Splitter Nation and Splitter family. So this has been cool.
No, that's exactly like how it is, you know, for me back home. Nobody where I'm from has made it to the NFL. Yeah. None of that. Nobody. And it's a rarity for people to even go to a Division I school. Like for my high school, there was like the first year it opened. So they didn't even really like go to my high school. It was his senior year. Like the first year the school opened, you got zoned to a new school when school opens up. He didn't even go to our school or nothing. He got zoned there when it opened up. The first year it was open in like 2002 or something like that. It was the head coach's son. He ended up going to Navy.
Yeah.
In a Navy. But not to knock them, but like everybody, they sign like 60 kids a year. Like no knock on them or nothing, but they do that there. But it really wasn't until my class that some guys even went to Division I schools, and Bubba was the only one to ever go like out of high school, like on scholarship to like a major like D1, like Power 5 university. My friend Alex signed to a D1 AA out of high school, but those were the first ones. Me, I walked on to Arkansas State and eventually came here to Miami. But I don't know if I'll count a kicker or whatever, but like I don't think I'll count that, but we'll just go ahead and say that. But other than that, there's been nobody from where I'm from, nobody. And I'm really the only one to actually like play at a big Division I school.
Right.
So, I mean, I know what you're saying, 100%. It's actually really cool that you and your teammate went to the NFL. I saw a picture earlier this year. I think you posted on your story, like when y'all were younger. Yeah. What you did, like when you were younger, and like a photo of y'all at the jersey swap.
Yeah, we came up all the way together from middle school, high school at Lincoln. We both went to IMG. We both went to Buffalo. And then when I transferred to Miami, he transferred to Maryland. And then he's at the Seahawks, and I'm at the Vikings now. So,
man, that is insane. That's a pretty cool story. Speaking of IMG, what made you go there?
Just like the opportunity, man. It's like college and high school. You feel me? Like you go in there, you competing against everybody around the country. You flying the games, and different teams around the country coming to you. Like number one, I'm about to say university, number one high school, but it's really like college. Like you go there, it's a college schedule. You got 2-3 classes a day. You got to lift in the morning. You got film in the afternoon. You got study hall, dinner. You feel me? You live in dorms away from your family. So like it's really like college, like in high school. So it prepares you for college. You're going against the best talent, in the country. A bunch of 4 stars, 5 stars, 3 stars. Everybody's coming there. So you're getting a ton of talent. You're getting a bunch of exposure. Going there, from the spring ball and whatever. So just a really opportunity that I couldn't really turn down.
So speaking on that, being from Texas,
right.
I don't want to get anybody in trouble or nothing. Did they maybe recruit you there?
Really, my boy recruited me. Like, so my boy went down for a camp. He was his name is Jeff Stokes. So it was 3 of us that went down there from Lincoln. Myself, Tyler, and Jeff. Jeff went down there for a camp. Like they had a thing called like the John Madden camp. And while he was down there, they we want you to come to school here. We having this was the first year of the football program. I came on the second year. We want you to come to school here. And then Jeff came back. He didn't go to school there the first year. He stayed at Lincoln. Then going into our senior year, he's like, I think, I'm going to transfer down there. He's like, I think you should come with me. And then we went down there, checked the place out, and then we went down there. Tyler, everybody got hoop dreams. So he was still up in Michigan playing basketball. And then finally he was like, I'm going to come down there too. So that's kind of how it happened.
Man, that's crazy because, there's always the talks about IMG. No team in Texas will play IMG because
I heard.
They recruit their kids and stuff like that. Yeah. Especially when like Kellen Mond went over there, that was a big deal. Like, he was a big guy in Texas, San Antonio, Reagan, goes over to IMG and stuff. And that's one thing I don't like. And me and Derek talk about it all the time is like when they talk about people drafted from the state of Florida, they always count IMG. That don't count. That don't count. Like every year, like Texas is number 2 by like 2 people. And then if you go on people drafted and it says IMG high school, they're from Texas. There was like 4 from Texas that got drafted. We're like, okay, let's just put those back on Texas because IMG don't count. You go there for 1 year maybe. Like, come on.
Yeah, that's true. But I think like because when I was there, we could still play in Texas. I think they just made that rule like a year or 2 ago.
Yeah, it was.
We played against Texas. We played against Michael Irvin Jr. He played,
Dallas. What was this?
Somewhere in Dallas like that. I don't remember, but it was in Dallas.
Yeah, that was before he went to St. Thomas Aquinas. No, that was like one of the last times they did that because afterwards a bunch of kids like ended up going to IMG from Texas. They didn't like that.
I think he had like 21 catches that game.
Irv?
Literally, he had like 21 catches. They threw the ball. I mean, they ran the ball 2 times.
Dang, Irv went off like that? Dang, okay.
It was ridiculous.
No, he was that guy. Then he ended up going to St. Thomas Aquinas. That's crazy. Irv got 21 catches. But no, so out of IMG, out of high school, you only had 2 offers, right? From Middle Tennessee State and Buffalo. What made you choose Buffalo?
Well, I kind of had to. Like, Middle Tennessee State filled up. Like, I think at the time, they got a kid named Richie James. Who was he was in the league. I'm not sure where he is right now. He was a punt returner and receiver for the 49ers. He had like committed. Like, Middle Tennessee State was my first offer, so I got offered like going into my senior year, like that March. My first offer. I remember being in class. That's funny. Like, you talk about IMG, like it's a sports school. Like, Coach DM me on Twitter. I'm in the middle of class. I'm like, can I go take this call? Like, so they're like, oh yeah, go take the call, whatever. Like, whatever. But, they offered me. So I'm like, I didn't want to commit on my first offer. This was before spring ball. So I'm like, I'm thinking I'm about to get all these offers or whatever coming in spring ball. So I didn't commit. And then so they had like kind of filled up like early, like before anything. So now I started getting a bunch of like D1 AA or, D2, D3, but more like D1 AA at that time. And Buffalo was actually my last offer, like a week before signing day, like, like when I was on my last official visit. So I was going to go to either Buffalo, Southern Illinois, or Indiana State. Buffalo came in late. I love, Coach Ianello, Coach Leipold. Coach Ianello was my receiver coach. Coach Leipold was my the head coach, who's at Kansas now. Both of them are at Kansas, and I loved them. It was I really trusted. Obviously I'll be working with Coach Ianello a lot, who is coach guys in the league. A good guy. It's D1. That's like I said. That's what we wanted. Like, that's what we wanted. It was in the MAC. We felt like we could play. Felt like we could compete. It was like maybe a 3.5, 4 hour drive from home. So yeah, we enjoyed it, and that's where we went. And I really, like I said, I committed with my boy Tyler. So he was committed to Southern Illinois, so I was going to go to Southern Illinois. And I told him, like, I think I want to go to Buffalo, and I committed to Buffalo, and then I got him to flip.
Well, that ended up working out well for both of y'all. It's funny that you say that, because out of high school, I mean, I think I've told you before, like, I didn't have any other choice either. Like, the only opportunities I had, I only got one phone call from Herm Edwards. That was it. That was the only phone I got. And I went on a visit to Arizona State.
Right.
And after the visit, it was after signing day already. He said, well, all the like spots have filled up, all the walk-on spots and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I didn't have a choice to go there. And then Cliff Kingsbury, he sent one of his coaches out to Pasadena Memorial to my high school. And I'll never forget this. He told me he was coming. Cliff Kingsbury, I still have the email. He sent me an email saying that his coach was coming to see me the next day. So I was waiting for it, and I never got called out of class. I was like wondering, like, why did I get called out of class? I was like, man, did he not come? And so I texted the coach that was supposed to come, and I was like, hey, did you not show up? He's like, yeah, I did. I spoke to your coach and all that stuff. And I was like, that's weird. So I go and talk to my coach. Man, my coach was a real old-time guy.
Yeah.
And I played offense and defense all of high school.
Yeah.
And he was an old-time guy, and he believed in, like, fullbacks and stuff.
Yeah.
This man, I asked him, I was like, hey, did that Texas Tech coach come? And he's like, yeah, he came, but he started talking about you playing linebacker and stuff. And he's like, I told him, you're a fullback. I was like, what? I was like, what are you talking about, man? This is college football. I play anything. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't have one offer. I don't have nothing. Yeah. I'm just trying to go play somewhere. And you're going to tell him that?
Yeah.
I was pissed. And I ended up, like, they told me, like, the next day, like, oh, sorry, all of our spots filled up. I'm like, man, I was so pissed. And so I had no choice. And so I had to go to Arkansas State. I went there for a year. But it's funny you mentioned that your coach went to Kansas. My defensive coordinator at Arkansas State just went to Buffalo because your coaches went to Kansas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's the defensive coach Coughlin. He's the defensive coordinator at Buffalo right now.
Oh, really? I'm supposed to be speaking to them soon.
Yeah, man. Coach Coughlin still messages like every now and then, just says, hey, proud of you, stuff like this. You always work on things like that. Real good guy. I love him. Yeah. He's a football guy. When I tell you, he's at the facility 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. every single day.
coach's life.
Yeah, he lives a real coach's life.
Yeah.
Speaking on that, like at Buffalo, did you enjoy your time there? Like, how was it? How was it playing? Like, what was all of that about?
I loved it, man. I love my time at Buffalo. I talk to them guys every day. I'm still in the team group chat, like with the guys that I play with, like some of the guys a little bit younger than me. I still talk to, Tyree, who's my quarterback, AJ, Khalil. I talk to my strength coaches there. Like that was like a family. Like I loved it there. Like we embraced it. Buffalo's a blue collar place. Not a lot of people want to be there because it's cold and you don't know like what you would do there. Like, but we embraced it. It's in the MAC. Like it's not like it's not a huge school, but we put on. Like our last year we went 10-2. We went to the MAC championship. We went to the bowl game. And we built that. Not built the program up, but from what it was at, we left better than how we found it. Mm-hmm. My class, it's a lot of guys in my class that came in with me that's in the league. It's like myself, Tyree Jackson, AJ was on the practice squad, Tyler, Cam, Chuck was on the roster for a little bit. Like it's Jared Patterson. There's so many guys, Malcolm Kuntz, like there was a lot of guys on that team that's in the league that, Buffalo hasn't done that before. So again, I love my time there. That's where I grew up a lot. So I was only in Miami for a year. And I always tell people like, obviously I do love Miami, but like Buffalo's like where my roots are. So like anytime people like mention like, college, whatever, like, I'll be like, I went to the University of Buffalo too. Because, that's what, like I said, I'm grateful. Like they gave me one offer. There would be no Miami Buffalo to give me that offer.
Mm-hmm.
That was my only shot. I still talk to Coach Lightfoot. I still talk to Coach Ianello. I said, I'm speaking to the team soon. Like that's family. So again, I love my time there. It made me like who I am, made me that give me that grind mentality. And, you gotta get it. Like we didn't have no indoor. Like, we didn't get all this NIL money and, all this big old stipend and stuff like that, like that you would get that I got in Miami. So, it was different, but it made me who I am.
So speaking on all that, like what made you transfer? Like it was such a great place, great opportunities, guys going to the league. Like, why'd you transfer? Right.
So I think ultimately I transferred because my quarterback left. So my quarterback, Tyree Jackson, who actually plays tight end now for the Eagles, he was going to the draft. I redshirted, and a lot of guys in my class didn't. So my whole class was leaving. So we were going to have like a young quarterback, and it was like a heavy run offense. There was a lot of younger receivers, under me. So I'm like, I could be with a freshman quarterback. I'm not getting double team. Or, a heavy run first offense. So I'm like, that's not going to look good. I'm trying to go to the league. Like, I need to put up some numbers. Like, this year can't be like a rebuild. Like I need to go off. So I'm like, that's why I ultimately went to Miami. I wanted to go somewhere with a brand I could be on ESPN, and I'm playing a big time competition and things like that. So that's ultimately like why I transferred.
When you transferred, what all schools were wanting you?
I came down to Miami, Florida State, and North Carolina. It came down to those. I talked to a bunch of schools like TCU, Florida, Syracuse. Like I talked to a bunch of different schools all over. But at the end of the day, it came down to Florida State, North Carolina, and Miami.
Michigan was in the mix. I was just speaking that just because I'm from Michigan.
Yeah, no, they wasn't in the mix. I never talked to them. I never even talked to Eastern Michigan. Eastern Michigan is in Ypsilanti, Michigan. My sister was born in the hospital. That's like, if it's not on campus, it's across the street from the campus. That's why it's not connected. But like my grandmother lives, like I could walk to the stadium from her house. Lincoln hold their graduations at Eastern Michigan. I didn't get a letter from them. But I did have my best college game against. I had like 8 catches, 188 and 3 touchdowns. So I let them know about it.
That's a little shocking to me.
Yeah.
Letter, no nothing. Yeah. But what ultimately made you choose Miami over, the shitty school up north, Florida State, and then, North Carolina?
Just like what Coach Diaz was doing. He was doing so much, like with coming in, and Coach Cooney. That's what really I spoke to a lot. So he kind of sold it to me a lot. What Miami is, the brand. Playing at a big time school like the U. You got that U on the side of your helmet. Like it means something. It's family. So that's ultimately like why I came. They have my master's program, which I'm doing now in criminal justice. So there were just so many factors that I love. I'm in the heat. I'm in Miami, Florida. I have everything, and where I'm training at. There's so many opportunities. So it was a bunch of things that made me ultimately choose Miami, and I thought it was a great choice.
For sure. I mean, we're obviously glad you came to Miami. You were really one of the only bright spots, of that season. Of course, we had Greg Russo, who had, 15 and a half sacks that season.
Crazy.
Absolutely insane. And
out of nowhere, too.
He didn't start until, like, the 5th game of the season.
Yeah.
And he ended up having 15 and a half sacks. Then he ended up we had DJ Dallas, which he had a great year.
Shaq.
Got drafted in the 4th round by the Seahawks because of it. And then we had Shaq. Shaq, another guy, got drafted in the 4th round too, I believe.
Yeah, 4th round. Yeah.
And Neo, he got drafted in the 7th.
Yeah, 7th round. So I still see him every time. We see him 2 times a year, so I see him every time we play the Packers.
How is Neo? Still quiet, long hair?
Yeah, so quiet. I be forgetting he out there. I come to the game and be like, dang, that's how he ain't say nothing. He ain't nothing.
Bro, he doesn't.
He'll never say nothing
like that though. That man's just about his work. He's one of those shows up to work because it's his job and he goes home.
Yeah. He always been like
blue collar guy.
So talented though. Yeah, a lot. He was good, and he's young. I think he left early.
No, he did leave early. He was like 20 when he left.
Yeah.
That dude, he's different. He's
nice.
A freak athlete. It's funny. I see him like make a tackle or something. I'm like, oh my God, I forget. Because he don't have no social media, nothing. Like, he don't post nothing. I think the first time he posted something was on Joe Jack's birthday because Joe Jack's best friend. So he posted something. And that was the first time he posted in like a year.
Yeah.
But, how was your time at Miami? Like, did you enjoy it? Like, was it beneficial to you? Did you learn any lessons?
Yeah. Well, I love my time in Miami, man. What I tell people, like, it's funny. Like, I can't even say it without laughing. Like, when people ask me, how is Miami? I say exactly what you think it is. So whatever's in your head, I say yes. I said Miami was fun. We had fun. We played football. I'm finishing my degree. It was great. Like what they talk about, like the brotherhood, like that's a real thing. I was just on the Behind the U podcast and I was talking about, like in the league, like even like when you're on the field, like whether I play with guys or not, they'll come up to me in pregame, or you feel me, they'll tackle me and help me up, like, like you family. I'm like, oh yeah, he did play at the U. Like, they're really like when I was going into the draft, I was reaching out to guys. I wanted to ask some questions. Like when I scored the game winner against Pittsburgh at Miami, Santana Moss texted me. I've talked to, Andre Johnson, asking him, for some advice. I see, but you got Ed Reed that's there now. There's a bunch of guys that I could keep, going. Michael Irvin, how can I forget? He was up there in Minnesota after the Thursday night game. I'm talking to him. I was on his podcast, and I'm talking to him. Who doesn't want to speak to Michael Irvin? Like have that relationship with him. So like I said, it's so many guys that you can speak to. Calais Campbell, also a super dope vet. He's talking to me. Huge. Okay, Drew, keep doing your thing. He got
he's massive. I thought Greg was big. I thought Greg and like Jalen Phillips was big. That man is huge.
Dude is huge. Like we got the scout report against him. We're going against him. We're playing him. So like I said, it's so many different guys that you speak to. They all look out for you. It's family. That's like a real thing. Like some people just talk about it. Like that's like a real thing. And again, I have my master's program. What Coach Diaz was doing, like I said, I had a great time. I was able to mentor a bunch of young guys. I still talk to those guys. I talk to Pope. I talk to Wiggs. Guys. I talk to GB. People that reach out to me. or I'll reach out to them, ask them how they're doing, like whatever. So again, it's family, and I'm super happy that I went there. Now this is home. Like I'm about to close out on a condo deal that I'm doing now. For like my first investment property. But this is home. This is where I train at. This is where I'm comfortable at. So yeah, it's cool.
Man, that is dope hearing, and I mean I agree with you 100%. Like people ask me about Miami, and I'm just like, they're asking me questions. I'm like, yes.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, is that?
Is this that? Yes. It's all true, man.
It's all true.
But speaking still on Miami, what do you think about all the stuff that that's thoughts and stuff about going on right now?
Yeah, I'm hearing this. The new coach, and a lot of people like him. I'm hearing it's going well. So I haven't got a chance to go up there and meet him yet, which I'm gonna do. He followed me on Twitter sometime during the season. I'm really happy that people I knew like Coach Cooney is still there. Even like Mike Foreman, who's on the staff. I played with him at Buffalo. That was my Buffalo teammate.
Yeah, my dog.
So guys are still on the staff that when I was around. So I know people in there. So that I'll be excited to go meet him. Coach Cristobal and the whole staff. But I'm hearing good things. So I'm just as excited as everybody else.
Yeah, no, we just we talked to him today. The first time really, he's been working, recruiting like crazy on the road, going everywhere. Finally saw him today in our little team meeting. We have a meeting every Monday and Wednesday for like 15 minutes. Finally saw him in it. And, he just let us know things going on. And obviously, we hired a defensive coordinator and stuff like that. So Kevin Steele he was a intern or something at Tennessee because, he was at Auburn for 4 years and his contract went up. So, if you want to collect your money still, you got to, do something like that for a year. But, yeah, we hired him. So it's, real exciting, times right now. We did lose our wide receiver coach, went back to –
I've seen that.
So we got to find another wide receiver coach, got to find an OC, which obviously, it's going to be done very soon. Very, very soon. And that's, kind of all I could say about that. Obviously don't put nothing out there, but it'll be done very, very soon. Yeah. Going into that, how was your first year in the NFL?
It was a learning experience, man. You learn so much stuff. Like, they say, you're at the top in college and then you start back from the bottom. And that's just true. Like, start from the bottom, you learn that, it's a business. You learn, the politics of it. Some stuff is fair. Some stuff really ain't fair. And that's just how it is. Like, there's guys out there that's deserve to be in the league that's not in the league because they didn't get no shot because they didn't have a pro day because of COVID. And it's like, the league doesn't, like, feel sorry for you. Just keep going because, like, it's just like that's just how it is. So, like, it's like real cutthroat business. Like, you gotta get out there. You gotta perform at the end of the day. So, I learned a lot about, the business side of it. I learned that, I could compete at this level. I didn't get no offensive snaps, but, best believe I was working on a scout team. I was making plays and I was gaining my confidence. Like, yeah, I can do this. So I learned a lot during my first year. Like financial stuff. The outside stuff coming in, whether it be like money and telling people no, or all types of things that just come with being in the league. So I learned a lot of that my first year.
That's good, man. Yeah, I was going to ask about that. You didn't have 0 offensive snaps all season. I mean, obviously, you were the starting kick returner, punt returner, and all that. But I would watch your games. I would watch every game. Just waiting for for you to do something, waiting for you to come on offense. I'm like every game. I'm just like, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see. I think it was against the Packers. I believe that was your best return game. It was against the Packers. I watched that because I want to see Green Bay versus Vikings. That was a good game too. You had a pretty pretty good game punt return wise, but really the reason why I want to talk about the first year is because your jump from first year to second year, me and De'Eric spoke about it when it happened because, they released stuff during training camp.
Right.
And you ended up, they put you as the number 3 receiver.
Yeah.
And we were just like, man, going back to what I said at the beginning of the podcast, like you were working. Like guys, usually take some time off. This guy's already working. He works every single day. Like you don't see him out. You don't see him doing nothing. Like you can tell he's focused. Like this man just grinds and grinds and grinds. Like you can tell this man wants to make it and he's going to make it. He's not going to just like wait for some luck to happen. Like he's just what they say, kick the door in. Like he's going to make it happen.
Right.
And when we saw that, we were just like, man, like seeing people get what they, worked for. It's just something you don't see happen. Like you said, some people deserve to be in the league and, they don't have that shot.
Right.
Seeing you work, one of those guys that just works, get something that, he deserves. It was just awesome to see. And it motivates people, like us that want to just, do things like that. Like, me, like all I do now, like all I want to do is just work. Right. So focus, because I may not be the biggest guy or nothing like that. And I may not be the fastest, but I know there's things in my game that can elevate me. So I just work in that and I try and get better in each step of that. Obviously, try and work on speed and things like that. Strength. I mean, you already know I'm pretty strong. Like I squat a lot of people. I did 17 reps the other day, like during workout, 17 reps, 225, just going. Yeah. But no, like just working on my mental side of the game, like knowing where play is about to happen before. That sense of mind is like something I work on, and you, man, you worked so hard doing all these different things. It motivates people like us, But
that's the goal, man. That's what I want to do. Like that's why, like even like the little morning Moa post, like, I want people to see that I am like you. Like I may have a special talent, you have a special talent. If you're speaking about somebody who's not playing college football or whatever, but like I am you. No matter what you do, whether if you want to be a football player or a doctor or an accountant or whatever, like you're gonna have to work your butt off and do more than it's a bunch of people that want the same thing that you want. So like, what separates you? So that's why I try to like push into people, like, and why I try to hold myself to a standard. I'm like, it's a lot of people that's looking at me for as motivation or like, whatever. So I'm trying to tell them like, I am you. Like I'm not different than you. I put my pants on, one leg at a time, just like you. But it's just like what's in here and what's in here that's gonna push you like to bring everything out of you. So like I try to say like, find whatever God gave you. He gave everybody like a special talent, or I seen something that Jay-Z just said the other day. Everybody has some type of genius in them. Like it's just on you to find it and maximize that. So that's what I try to do. Like when I went to IMG, I'm like, I'm at an awesome place. Like how can I maximize this place? I'm at Miami, how can I maximize my brand? How can I use, this to how can I make connections? How can I earn my master's degree? Like, that's what I try to do. Like, with the Vikings, same thing. I just try to maximize everything that I have and everything that I can to motivate people and get everything that I can out of anything that I do.
No, yeah. I mean, I respond to a lot of your morning mows. I'm always watching them. Like anytime you post a video, like I click on it, like I watch it. And there was one post that I was going to slide up. It was last week. And it's part of the reason, like I texted you to join the podcast and stuff, like, to come on it. It's because I wanted to ask you about it. And I was like, man, we could just, talk about this later instead of me sliding up. But it was something like, about getting all this extra work in. Like if someone wakes up at 7, you're waking up at 5. If someone's, working out at 3, like there's always moments like you can do something each moment to get better, like at certain times to get better. Like if you got work at 7 o'clock, get a workout in at 5:30. You got a break at 2, get a work in at 1, like, or get a workout in at 2, things like that. But I wanted to ask you, like, I get that 100%, but it is also a lot harder to do than what it's, what it seems like, or what it says. Like, obviously, it's harder to do.
Easier said than done.
Exactly. Easier said than done. And I was going to ask basically how in someone like my shoes in college, like just speaking about college football players, because that's the life that speaking on that alone, college football players, balancing school, balancing the workouts that we already do. Our workouts are in the morning. We get done about 12 o'clock. Then we got class. Right. About some people, like one day my class will end at 8:30 and I start at 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
How for someone like that can they get that extra work in?
Right. Like, so it depends on, like, when people think extra work, what people have to understand is extra work is not always going on the field and running 10 sprints. It's not always, going to pump, extra, a 225. Like, extra work can be film. Extra work can be tennis balls. Extra work can be mobility. Extra work can be, a jugs machine. So it don't always have to be, this strenuous, work. So, like, I think, it might be a little different from when I was there, because I was a grad student. But, like, say when I was at Buffalo, like, we get to, we got the 6 a.m. workouts. After the 6 a.m. workouts, we never leave. Like, if you was a guy and we, like, you serious about the league and we seen you leaving the weight room right after the lift, we like, what you doing? Like, it's kind of like, we like, not laughing at you, but like, oh, I'm gonna remember that. Like, you try to leave the weight room, it's like he was doing abs, he was doing some type of like ankle mobility, you was doing some type of like modality, like something like that. If you're a linebacker, you're doing like some extra curls, you're doing like neck, you're doing, something like before you leave the weight room. Like, that's time. You go to class, if you come back and you watch some film, just, you don't got to do a whole bunch. It's just like little investments, like when you can, or if you want to, like on the weekend. We always go, like, if we work out like Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, we always come in Wednesday though. And that could be anything. You feel me? It don't have to be, just strenuous work. It could be, something little. When you come in on Saturday, like I said, like, you're like a linebacker, so you might want to get like a little extra pump in, arm day or whatever. I'm a receiver. I'm gonna catch balls. I'm gonna, go to the training room, get on like the little balance thing and catch to work on my balance. Catching stuff over the shoulder, like that type of stuff adds up. Like, it adds up and it's useful in a game. Like when it's going 100 miles per hour. And then so like if you do that, it's like when I was at Miami. I would, like, in the summer times, especially, because like in the season, it's like you there. It's like, that's what gives me confidence. And when I line up, it's like, I know I put in more work for you. So like in the season, it's like you there. You can still get better throughout the season though, for sure. But like in the summertime, you have more time. It's like I would work out. If I do something after my workout and bring somebody with me, that was like one of my biggest challenges. Bring somebody with me. I'm catching balls on a tennis ball machine. Catching balls. I always do abs, like I said, ankle stuff, modality stuff, my nutrition. And then I would come after class and catch more balls on the tennis ball machine. Some days I wouldn't do that. And I would go, watch some film of, an NFL player that I modeled my game after. Then I would go work on those things. So like things like that where you can squeeze it in. But a lot of people don't know, rest is a part of it. Like, you want to work, but, rest is a part of that. Like you are killing yourself if you're not resting. Like, and how you should be, like I said. So I don't go do my workout, come back later, and then do pump again, and then we have arms the next day, because that doesn't add up. You want to still keep it within, the schedule. So that's how I would say, like, you manage it. Like, it doesn't have to be huge stuff. It can be small investments, and eventually those add up.
I mean, you remember back when you were here, like after workouts and stuff, I always heard, you always put in extra work. It was always a thing, like KJ's there. I remember Coach Diaz one time was like, yeah, KJ's texting me like 8 at night or something. Like, how can I get the thing open, like the indoor open, so I could go catch some jugs? Like, so Coach ended up having some way that we could get inside like late at night. So, or it was like 10 p.m. and you're going and you're catching jugs, things like that. But back in those days, that we didn't really have people that did the extra work, that stayed after workouts and things like that.
Right.
And I know Derek's not here right now. It makes me wish that you would have been there with Derek, because when he got here, it was like almost like mandatory. Like, hey guys, like, what y'all doing? Like, he was like shocked seeing people just leave. He's like, nah, you a receiver, you on offense. He's like, you just ain't out here.
Yeah.
And
that's
so now after workouts, they're throwing, running routes and stuff like that. And then as defensive players, we see that and we're like, damn, you know how it is, offense versus defense. We can't let the offense outdo us. So we started, doing stuff on defense like the past 2 years, like when he was here. And now like it's kind of carried over. Now Tyler kind of runs it now. Like Tyler's telling like the receivers now, he gets some of them out there. He's like, all right, let's go and do some stuff. And that's just kind of how it's been. And I wish that it would have been like that whenever you were here too. Because it would have probably obviously equated to a better season.
Right.
That's why when Derek did play, we did have a good season, because he led us and he made sure that we were getting the extra work in at all times. But that, speaking of extra work, all that stuff, you put in so much extra work that your first NFL offseason, and you ended up getting the top 3 receivers and all that. You ended up having 50 receptions, 655 yards, 7 touchdowns in your second year. You went from zero offensive snaps to 50 receptions, 655 yards, and 7 touchdowns, and the game-winning touchdown against the Panthers.
Yeah.
So that was all over Twitter, all over the NFL's page, all over SportsCenter. That play right there, that was so badass. Like, just watching it, it was so cool to see. Like, everybody was going crazy too. I mean, everybody. I was sitting on the couch with De'Eric and Jared. We were just like, did KJ really just do like, oh my gosh, like, we're going crazy. Man, how does it feel like to see the hard work like pay off and to, you know, see the progress from year 1 to year 2? Like, obviously it just makes you want to go harder because you want to take the next step, right?
Right. That's exactly, like, you answered the question for me. It just makes me want to go harder, like, because it's fun. Like, it's fun. And I talked to Jets about it too, like going in from his college to year 1. I'm like, we boys, but, you sit down with your boys. I'm like, how does that feel? Like, you were like a superstar. He was like, eventually it's like, it was like different, but it's just like, you can't become, it's just like, that's just who I am. And that's how I started to feel. Like, at first, like, I was in training camp and I was like, every day I would literally like tell myself, like, good or bad day, I'll erase the day and start this day. Like, keep stacking days. And I would erase. And I was telling my mom, it was like, when I get on the field, like, I felt like somebody else. Like, my confidence was so high. Like, I just felt like somebody else. And I go watch the film and I'm like, dang, I was really doing that. And then that's how I just carry that confidence, into the season. And then, it was getting to the middle of the season or whatever. And, I wasn't looking back and, trying to reflect. I'm like, just keep going. At the end of the season, we can look back and say, wow, I didn't have any catches and now I have, this and that. So, it just make me want to go harder, and it just makes me see the potential that I do have, but it ain't like I'm not who I am yet. You feel me? It's like I'm not the player that I want to be yet. So it makes me, go harder, and it makes me want to do more. Because, there's more things in my game that I want to add and want to do and want to learn. And to be that, even more exciting player. So, it definitely felt good. Like you said, the work paying off. It just made me feel like, Stephon Diggs, his famous thing, like, do it for yourself, prove yourself right. Don't do it for no reporters or coaches, whatever. Just prove it to yourself. And that's what I feel like. I wrote that on my mirror in my bathroom. Like, I'm going to do this for myself to show that, I can play at this level. I can compete at this level, I can play with confidence and, and feel like I belong. So that's how I felt. And, so I just went out there and played with confidence. And, at the end of the season, I'll look back and say, I did this, and this, but now next season, I feel like I belong. I feel like, I can make plays, so now, it's time to take my game to an even higher level.
Man, that, again, it's just so, cool and like awesome, like to hear, just because, obviously you inspire like a lot of people. You inspire me like 100%, like, because you sat in obviously the same shoes I sat in. You were in the same place I was in. We've gone against each other. I remember having to do one-on-ones against you. They call yellow. I'm sitting there right across from you in the slot. And I'm like, all right, I gotta play press man against KJ. Okay. Let me just try and like jam him a little bit so he don't go too far me.
Yeah.
But man, it's so awesome like hear and see. And I just want you to know, like, you do inspire a lot of people. You do inspire me. And obviously, to keep going, you're going to keep going regardless. But I really appreciate that. But to end it off, we always do this thing with each one of our guests. What is one thing you can tell anybody? It doesn't have to be football. Doesn't have to be about business, whatever. It could be about anything you want. Just something like inspirational, something that you want to tell like everybody.
Dang, I feel like, it's I don't want to say cliche, but it's keep God first. Like, it's nothing like, there's no secret. There is no like, just keep God first. Cause like at the end of the day, like none of this stuff would be possible without God. I like, all the stuff that I'm able to do, I'm blessed to be able to do and, take care of my family and, inspire people and, get degrees and play football and live out my dream. It's not possible, without favor and without, I don't know why stuff works out the way it does. I had one scholarship offer. I was able to grow up with my best friend. We both be able to play in the NFL. But, I trusted in God and I believed. I bet on myself. I prayed. I did the right thing. And, if you sow your seed, if you sowing your seeds, you're gonna reap what you sow. I made the right decisions. I tried to be a good person. I tried to, love others. And I just kept God first, and man, that's one thing. I've always been in church since I was a freaking newborn. And when I went to IMG, when I went to Buffalo, I went to IMG when I just turned 16. So you got to start doing stuff for your own because you live by yourself. So you learn to get your own. Not to make this too spiritual, but you learn to get your own relationship with God because you're not with your parents. You learn to when you go to college and when you get those tough times, you're a walk on. I'm sure there's times where you're like, bro, I want a scholarship, bro. Like you can't talk to your parents about that. You can talk to them about it. At the end of the day, it's like you on your knees and you praying to God. I was on, like you said, I didn't get no any All-Star game invite. When you hear that, he probably going undrafted. I was praying please get the Senior Bowl invite. I'm praying on my knees hard. It never came. I didn't get a Shrine invite, no invite. I didn't get any of those bowl games. I didn't know if I was gonna get the Combine one. I remember I got it. And I'm tears in my eyes. I'm running around happy, So I'm I just kept God first, and I'm favored because of that. They say favor ain't fair. And I'm a true believer in that. So that's just one of my main things. Just keep God first, and He gonna guide you. You always got to think. One of my big things right now, you got to believe everything is working out for your good. No matter something good happen to you, bad happen to you, you gotta believe everything is always working out for your good. Control what you can control. That's a huge one. Control what you can control. That's what I kept telling myself during that Combine time, and everything else after you just try to take advantage of opportunities, man. But that's where it all goes back to, make sure you have a relationship with God.
Man, that's
really that's my source. That's where everything comes from. That's where how I make all my decisions. Any decision I got to make, big decision, rather whether it was going to IMG, going to Buffalo, going to Miami, any big decision I got to make. I talk to a lot of people, but that decision comes from me being on my knees and me praying and, and it being revealed, before me, that's the decision I need to make. And every decision that I make, I always tell people this. When I went to IMG, when I went to Buffalo, when I went to Miami, and when I have to make big, big decisions, I get the same feeling that comes over me. And it's because I pray about it a lot and I get the same feeling that come over me. And I'm and at the time now I have more wisdom. So I'm that's it. That's the same feeling I got when I was going to Buffalo. That's the same one I got when I went to Miami. So I know it's the right decision. So that's one of the things that I would say, because that's my source. That's where everything comes from for me.
No, man, that's so true. 100%. I love that you said that. That's lived out, through my life too. I, like you said, I would walk on and stuff. I used to be on my knees every single night. Shoot, in high school, praying, man, can I get a scholarship? Can I get a scholarship? Then I had to walk on to Arkansas State. I didn't play once. I was a practice dummy. I didn't even get any practice reps. Not one practice reps. Nothing. I was just holding bags, getting hit every day. Everything is for a reason. God has a plan for every single person. And that's made me who I am. That's what made me just work so hard. There's been times earlier in the season, you could ask De'Eric, I swear, right hand to the man, at the beginning of the season, I swear I wasn't playing nothing. I was going through a lot of things, outside of football. And I just, me and De'Eric would talk about football and stuff. And I was like, man, I don't know why. I just have a feeling later in the season, I swear. Because I would pray about it. And I was like, man, I just have a feeling later in the season, I'm going to end up playing a lot more. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to end up playing a lot more at the end of the season, just for some reason. And I felt like it was God just giving me that confidence, to, keep with it, because that could, tear someone down. You get 0 reps all season on offense. It could tear you down, wear you down. well, I was getting 0 reps, all fall, all that stuff. And I'm just like, man, it's wearing me down. But I'm like, I don't know, something's telling me, like God's telling me, like, wait.
Of course.
Yeah, just wait, it's coming. And I ended up playing at the end of the season. I ended up doing very, very well. And I believed in myself. I knew that, I had all that in me. Like, it's just, given the opportunity to show that.
Right.
And I only got to show a little bit of it. But, man, that's 100% true. And I'm so glad that you came on here and spoke, like, about everything, especially that last part, because that's something that, really hits my heart and hits home for me.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you, KJ, 100% for joining us. And, for me, and I would say, De'Aaron too.
Yeah.
But we appreciate y'all tuning in to the King and Ragone Show, and we'll see y'all next time.